Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for the metals price prediction based on Elliott Wave analysis. We're gonna start with the gold here on the daily, where we have still of course our wave 5 to unfold in the yellow scenario here in the all-time history. Of course we have also another 1 2 1 2, another 1 2 3 4 5 for your major wave 3 inside the wave 5, and of course followed by a triangle A B C D E 1 2 3, of course, and then potentially another correction, which it might be correction as another triangle or a potential ABC, and then moving toward the upside for a wave 5 to finish up here the major wave 3 of this wave 5, then following a wave 4 and a 5 again for a next bull run here for the gold. Now, in case we dive a little bit inside here, this correction, we can see clearly that we are in an A, B, C, D, and an E potential triangle unfolding over there. We can see, of course, a zigzag for a wave A, zigzag for a wave B. Now, this is looking like a perfect impulse. So the question mark, is it the wave A, B, and a C for a wave C and a wave D for a very longer correction in a triangle, meaning A, B, C, D, and a E, and then pushing for higher? Or is it something much more bigger than this, meaning if you are not in the triangle, meaning it can be, of course, an A, B, and a C here. Yeah, so it can be simply the zigzag, A or a flat B and a C. And that means, of course, you're looking for at least the 1-to-1 Fib level here, where you might unfold 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. The 1-to-1 Fib level taken from this high to this wave A here as a regular flat wave C, you might, of course, reach the 3,774. So in case this happens, of course, therefore you want to break, of course, below this level. And of course, you would like to see something for lower. Now, it still can be, of course, a triangle wave C here in case you don't take the low. So you need this low also to make sure that we move to the 3,774. And of course, this is exactly what I'm looking for right now. On the lower time frame here, we can see clearly that this ABC is still unfolding there, and I'm still expecting from yesterday, because yesterday we didn't saw so much, a lot happening, but I'm still expecting, of course, this wave C to be done and finished at least here, and which it might represent also a wave 2 potentially, because you have an impulse here, ABC 1 2 3 4 5 for a major wave C. So this potential 1 2 3 4 and a 5, I'm still expecting, of course, to be finished at least in an ending diagonal, meaning taking one more high here and then starting the drop toward the downside here for a major wave C. Yep, so this is what I'm expecting for the gold, of course, for the next price action. We'll see what's going to happen. Let's move to the silver here. For the silver as well, and starting with the all-time history or the daily here, you are very likely here into possibilities where whether you are in ABC or in a 1 2 3 4 and a 5. Both case scenarios requires, of course, an impulse, wave C or a wave 3. Currently, this impulse is still unfolding as 1 2 3 4 and a 5. Now, this wave 5, obviously, it is as well very extended because it looks like already longer than wave 3 and still unfinished. Because you have 1 2 3 4 5 for wave 1, wave 2 given 1 2 3, and then you're still looking for a wave 4 and a 5 to be finished, of course, in the top. And of course, we're still looking for all these counts to be finished inside the blue box, which are the major target here on the daily and on the all-time history. Currently, if we take a look at this correction, so of course we have a potential of A, B, C, D, and a E here, of course, very likely to finish a wave 4. Or you are in a bigger ABC flat here, or zigzag, I would say, because you have an impulse. Now, because you have an impulse here, very clear impulse 1 2 3 4 5, and you have a very clear 3 waves up, of course, with invalidation given. That means, of course, very likely that we might continue the drop toward the downside. Despite that we move for higher, this is very understandable for the expanding flat that I mentioned before, of course, for this scenario. So we're going to move to the micro thesis. in a clearer way. So basically, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 waves failing to take the high. So we did it. There was still a very tiny small gap here, which it didn't took the high, and we saw, of course, the invalidation of the bullish taken. So no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what you are looking at here, of course, is a 3 ways up, 3 ways down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 for the silver to finish, of course, a wave C here in this target as expected in an expanding flat. Because, of course, the wave C here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Your wave 5 is still unfolding here potentially for higher prices to hit at the $53, $54 probably. But basically, if we take the high here, that would be very, very interesting scenario. Why? Because it might shift to something very tricky here, which it can be the ending diagonal. And that means, of course, if you see the high taken here, that means, of course, we are shifting here to ending diagonal in zigzag. So this is confirmation for higher in case we move for higher prices. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this price 54, almost 50, 54.36 here. Okay, and that means you might have finished here WX and a Y, something very complex structure here, but knowing that it looks like a perfect impulse. In case that this is a zigzag wave 1, you got a wave 2, and if this impulse is going to transform to a zigzag, that means, of course, wave 3, 4, and a 5 still hitting our target at the end as an ending diagonal here. So these are the possibilities for the silver, of course, in case that this is going to unfold. This is, of course, a new scenario here for the silver. Can I say the same about the gold? Well, yes, it can be, guys. It can be also the same for the gold as a possible scenario. So I'm going to add it here, but still a little bit much more far from the silver. The silver is much more clearer for this scenario, but the gold can be a potential, but of course we need a very massive move toward the upside, taking the high there. Yeah. Yep. So this is regarding gold and silver. Let's see the palladium here. The palladium as well. We are looking here at the all-time history, or I would say yes, on the daily. Basically, for the palladium in all-time history, you have a double 1, 2 potentially 1, 2, another 1, 2, and you would like to push very high. In case you are in a zigzag finished wave A, you have the expanding flat wave B, and you push very high for a wave C. So both case scenarios here are showing a potential for higher prices. However, if we dive inside it, and we see, of course, that this push toward the upside, since the low there for a potential wave 2 or a wave B, we start to push for higher. Of course, this can be an impulse as a wave 1, but also it looks a little bit weird for impulse, knowing, yeah, that you didn't really took invalidation, but still there as a 1, 2 and potential 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 toward the upside, meaning this is very bullish for a massive wave 3. But what we have to investigate before moving with a massive wave 3 is, of course, the diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Wave 5 might finish exactly in this blue box between the 1751, 1886 as a leading diagonal, then getting a wave 2, and then pushing higher for a massive wave 3 toward the upside. So this is exactly what I'm watching, of course, for Palladium, and especially on the lower time frame here for Palladium. We are looking at a price decision here that it might be, of course, given between those two levels. Because after this correction, potential finished correction here as an A, B, and a C here, or WX and a Y hitting the 0.618, well, there is also a possibility, of course, that you might continue as diagonal toward the downside here to finish this wave C, right? Meaning finishing a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 here as diagonal, and then pushing again toward the upside, or we push directly for higher here by taking the confirmation for higher prices. Because this is, of course, already a leading diagonal wave 1 potentially, or a wave A. That means, of course, it is required a wave C or a wave 3 there after a correction. If the correction is gonna be longer and stronger, so yeah, we might dive again. And if we take confirmation for lowers, this might transform to something already corrective, and then we drop down for one more low for Palladium. So the price decision is still between those two key levels, which are required there to be watched. Okay, so I'm gonna also remove this blue box so we can see the price action much better. Yep, so that was it for the silver, the gold, and the Palladium. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.